Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of We Go Deep with Kat and Sarah. Today we're deciding the topic on the fly, and it has to do with something when Kathleen and I jumped on our call. I was talking about something that happened earlier in the day today. And so I will tell it to you a little bit how I told it to Kathleen. So I had the unexpected and maybe unusual experience of having a testimonial I wrote for a teacher and mentor read back to me as part of his podcast. And in hearing the lovely words I had written 2 months ago, in hearing that coming back to me, I heard it afresh and it landed maybe even deeper than when I had written it. And I found myself becoming very emotional, and overwhelmed's not the right word, but just it hit me very deeply. And I also realized that I no longer recognize the person that I had been talking about that I was before all the lovely changes I wrote about. And just when I mentioned that to you, Kathleen, you were like, wow, that permanent and deep of a change that I no longer recognize that person who I was maybe 6 months or a year ago. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's what I mean. First of all, just I read your testimony. Um, and then I've been fortunate that I've known you for what, going on 2 years. So, I've been able to witness some and a lot of your change has been internal and quite personal, and but what struck me was this is what happened for you. It's just short of amazing, is amazing, short of miraculous, right? It is a miracle. But the way that change occurs, like, I think we could explore that unless you want to talk more about the personal, the specifics of the transformation. I think the nature of change, what do we know about change? And so that's what I'd love to hear from you. Like, how much did you have a part of it? If that question makes sense.
Hmm.
Like and as far as like initiating it, orchestrating it, driving it, deciding which areas, because I know from having read your letter, same experience has been mine. Often we're after change in a certain area. We think, oh, this is what we're up to. And then boom, it's like this added bonus over here. Like all of a sudden, this aspect of
Mhm.
our life changes and transforms in beautiful ways that's unexpected. So I guess that first question. Um,
Yeah, before I get into that, I think what's cool for everyone is the nature of change. Because while the impetus to talk about it was related to change I experienced, I'm not special. Like, and I was thinking, because I can change, that means everybody can. Like, if she can change, then everybody can. Um, and then if anyone wants to actually read the letter that we're referring to, I did a blog post about it a couple months ago, drsaraoneil.com, Oneil. Sorry, I'm trying to drsaraoneil.com is the website, and the blog part of it. The title was the word miracle is in the title. It's the only one into 2024 that has the miracle in the title. I just wanted to get that out. So
yeah, well, and we could
anyway.
also We could also put in our show notes here that episode to the podcast where it was written that, somebody
Oh,
wants
we
to,
could.
somebody wants to actually listen to a professional radio voice and the catalyst.
We're also professional voices, Kathleen.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah,
Well,
we
anyway,
I could
since
do
we
that
are,
too,
I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people listening to the podcast love to read, but they are podcast listeners
for sure.
because they're here. So we'll put a link to that.
I will put that link. Yeah, I forget that that sort of thing's possible. That's why I'm laughing. Oh, that's easy. So anyway, you were talking about sort of how much I was involved. And what came to mind was, what aspect of me are you talking about? Because since this is We Go Deep, we could go deep right away. I felt like there was this little trail of paving stones or breadcrumbs laid down where all I had to do was pick up the next one and listen and believe or follow it, or listen and trust at every little step. And so from one perspective, I could say, well, it was all me. I wanted certain things to change, and I wasn't taking no for an answer. From one perspective, at a higher level of consciousness, it kept occurring to me that things could change. And it kept popping in my mind in that still, quiet voice. You don't have to have these symptoms, it was neurological brain injury symptoms. There was other aspects of the change as well, but and so lately I've been fascinated by, it feels like I do things. I mean, I watch myself do things. I write blogs. I'm speaking and doing a podcast with you. It feels like I do things, and yet what occurs to me to do next just comes. It's not something I sat down and decided. It literally just comes to me. And so, yeah, I would say my universe self brings it to me. In some moments, it feels like not me, but also not me, if that makes sense. Almost like the universe wanted change to happen.
Mm.
I mean, there's other things that have never occurred to me to change, and they haven't. And the things that don't occur to me to change, I don't really care about. Telling one friend kind of all the things that have changed in my life, because it's kind of a lot. And like, oh, I can go to movies now. I can do this now. I can do that now. She's someone who has cooked soups for me before and brought over soups. And I can't, I don't seem to be able to digest onions very well. If I eat onions, I very reliably will have this terrible bloating and gas. Might be too much information, but it's always painful. It's always a lot. And I just don't eat onions, and I really don't care about it. And it's not in my mind. I forget to tell people if I need to tell people. Anyway, she texted me and she goes, now that your life has changed, can you eat onions? And I was sort of like, well, it never occurred to me that so from that awareness that what comes to us seems like it's from out of nowhere.
Mhm.
And yet I don't think we're not involved.
Yeah. Yeah, I was you said something early on. I loved your answer. Just resonated for me. You said something about making decisions and and you know finding yourself doing something, engaged in something, and then it occurs to you the next thing to do. And what do you see, Sarah Joy, about, do you think we ever make a decision? Do you think there is even any such thing as decision? I mean, I think to me, the way it looks to me now is that we believe that we have to make decisions, and we're making decisions, and we made a decision in the past. Because of course I did that, you know. I picked up my glasses instead of a pen. I mean, because I decided to do that. But I think that, well, and neuroscience kind of proves it. Like the brain comes in afterwards and says, like, that has been scientifically proven. Oh, I decided to pick up the glasses. No, the thinking about it happened after the action was actually taken.
Yeah, we justify it after the fact.
Yeah, and so I think
That's like
change.
that's like known in neuroscience, like super
Yeah,
hard
and
fact.
but people don't realize that, so they're stressing over making decisions. I
Mm,
don't think we ever make a decision. Like,
yeah. I'm sort of laughing inside because up until last week I thought I made decisions. And I realized I don't think I do. There's where it feels like I've made a choice, but even then, like if somebody's asking, what kind of ice cream do you want? It occurs to me that I want the pralines and cream or the mint chocolate chip. Like one of them will kind of jump to the forefront. And if I, in times of indecision, like if I can't pick what ice cream, I'm literally thinking and I'm trying to make a decision. And I'm putting that in air quotes if people are just listening to the audio. But in trying to make a decision, then we're indecisive rather than what comes to me. Uh,
yeah,
I want the
yeah,
Bordeaux cherry.
yeah. And the reason that I'm pulling this out is because I think that this we're making decisions, what if we're not, has implications to how change happens.
Yeah.
As if we can choose to change or do change. Or so again, I'd love you to talk more again, just so that people might hear it a different way. Like,
Mhm.
it's not up to you, but it's not up to you. So talk about that, because the if we really are never making a decision,
Well, it's kind of freeing. Like,
talk about the part, so that's not you, not doing the change, not driving the change, but
yeah.
talk about the part that feels like there is something that involves you, or you know requires
Yeah.
you or something from you, or talk about that part of it.
Um, I might talk about something else first. We'll see if I talk about that part of it, because that part might not really exist. That
Yeah, yeah,
that might just be if I'm in a lower mood or a lower consciousness, it looks like it's me driving it. In a much higher consciousness, it looks like it was fated to be all along, and how can I didn't have anything to do with it. where I operate most of the time to be a functional human being. Because when I say that higher level, I tend to, that would be if I'm there, there's almost no desire there. So why would you want anything to change? But in a mid-range, um, I've started to see that the desire for something to be different is one of the, if not the first step, one of the first steps in change. So the fact that you want something to change, that had to occur to you to want it to be different. Because my example with the onions, while a bit funny, it has never occurred to me that that could be different. It's just, it seems that my digestive system doesn't do well with that, and I don't really give a crap. Or I don't know.
No, listen, that's
Yeah, there's all kinds of things that are less than unicorns and rainbows in anybody's life. I have bunions on my feet, and there are bunion straightening programs that you can buy and do these exercises, or like little braces and things. Never occurred to me, like, I don't care. So I think it starts with the desire. Even if you don't think it's possible, just you want it.
that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to pull out of that,
Yeah.
Sara Joy, is that um
So that desire
I
feels like me, but it occurred to me in a way that just came to me. That's not me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like that. I like that.
Yeah.
But also, if change is going to happen, it seems like knowing that it's possible, like having the desire, and even like the onion thing. Like, I mean, people that are listening might think, well, yeah, once the body has there's some kind of genetic thing with onions. And so, so in addition to the desire for change, I think also an ingredient that needs to be there is that there has to be the wanting of it, and then there has to be the curiosity or openness to the possibility that that thing actually could change.
I think for the actual change, but yeah, for me, for a long time with these, if I sat and listed out every weird neurological symptom I had from the time of a concussion, brain injury, 7 years, like the list would be 10 pages or more long. And so I'm not going to list them all out, but, and they were all like weird stuff, but stuff that I was told was a permanent brain injury. And so for years, I remember I would get that desire, or that it would occur to me, I would hear, this could change. Maybe this could change. I would hear things like that. Or I would think, okay, I feel done with this. And then I would kind of shake it off, like, dummy, like, it's just disappointment down that road. And,
Mhm.
just kind of like, people who've got a prosthetic arm. Well, you just carry on with life. It's just what is. You're not going to have I didn't have a lot of thinking about it most of the time. um, but yeah, there was what I find really fascinating right now, whether you call it God or the universe or your bigger self. I don't think God gives up on us ever, because that inkling that it could change, or that desire, kept coming, and it came faster and faster. And
Mm.
and there was a point where it was like I realized it could. And it was interesting because I also didn't initially feel like I was willing for it to change.
Mm.
And it was a strange resistance feeling.
So would you say that willingness isn't a mandatory ingredient? Like desire? I don't know. Can you desire change? Have this inkling that it's actually possible, but not be willing?
I felt a lot of resistance around it.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I hear that from clients too, where it's all the reasons that it can't change, even though at the same time you want it to change. And there was now this isn't logical, but it was a feeling that my husband wouldn't take care of me if I didn't, quote unquote, need taking care of anymore. And it was sort of a fear, almost like, can I do life on my own? And that's, I'm not doing life on my own. And even if I was, like, we're well equipped. So I say it's not logical, but there was sort of a fear of kind of like, well, I'm used to this and I
No,
don't
Sarah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, uh this is not logical, illogical. I'm
Mhm.
so glad you're sharing this because myself, my clients, like this is a pretty universal. There's like a there's like the surface want, and then the reason we don't have that desire is because there's a deeper, maybe sometimes hidden, stronger desire. Well,
Mhm.
if I'm free of that symptom, then in my,
Mhm.
you know, thing that's up here in the skull believes that my husband won't take care of me anymore. I mean, you know, not that, and logically, you don't need him. It's not him that takes care of you. But, I think that is so change or having something come into form that we want to create. We want it, we have the desire for it, and it's not happening because there's a hidden want, there's a hidden desire or a fear underneath it.
Yeah. And I was surprised actually how quickly I remember just feeling it, like sitting with it without thought, just feeling that arise. And in that moment, it came to me, I don't need this anymore. And
Mhm.
it rose like it would have been like a tension anxiety feeling rose and then went back down. And I almost could see it like a water level rising and then down and then gone. And then it was this, what came to me was, are you ready to let go of all these body symptoms? And I was like, hell yeah. And probably within 24 hours, all sorts of things vanished and never came back. I'm just listening to my daughter. She's practicing on her flute. And my husband, he said, she's so good at practicing for band on her flute. Our son, he was really bad at it. Declan was so bad. He never practiced. Um, his instrument was the tuba, which I find funny, but he never practiced in grade 7 and 8 when he was in band. And I said to my husband, oh, I wouldn't let him bring the instrument home because I couldn't handle the sound stimulation at that time. I told him to tell his teacher that his mom had a brain injury and he couldn't do it. And, and my husband never knew that and was kind of blaming. But just now, I wasn't even aware of it. I'm like, oh, she's in the house playing the flute kind of badly. And I had no awareness of it. And or it was just, is, you know, just part of the environment and who cares? That's so new.
So, Sarah Joy, I just want to give us a heads up that somebody's going to knock on my door in like 10 minutes, and then dogs are going to go crazy.
Okay.
And so I feel like we have a third part of this. So I just like I wish we could stay on this topic and do an hour podcast, but I'm just wondering if we can take what we've discussed so far and just reiterate anything that you want to highlight, put a little bow on it, and then I know I want to hear more, you know, um,
Well, yeah. So what we talked about so far, I guess, was it doesn't look like we really make decisions in the way that people think we do. And if something occurs to us to do or change, then it's probably for a reason and it's likely possible. And that desire, that wanting, I think that's divine. And and
I have a
some
blog post called Desire is Divine.
that sounds
Because
like a,
I've
that sounds
seen
like a
that.
good one.
Yeah. I mean, I
Yeah.
saw that a long time ago. It looks that way to me.
And sometimes we have things that we put in our way that aren't real, like things we just thought we needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's okay. We just thought we needed them. And
Right.
maybe we don't.
So, for change to occur, do you think it would be helpful for people to sort of investigate the possibility that there's things that they think they need that they don't?
I'm not sure I understood your question. Say it again.
Yeah, like it seems like there's a bit of it just sort of happened. Like all of a sudden you went like, "Oh, I can let go of that kind of underlying feeling that I want my husband to take care of me." Okay, I can let go of all these symptoms. Like, do you think there's a way for someone to investigate what those might be? Like, is there something that would be valuable, or do you just kind of wait for
Mhm.
all of a sudden that just happens? It just occurs. You wake up one day and it occurs to you, oh, which we know that can happen, right? But is there something else that um
Well, this could be the topic of next time we talk, but it's it's knowing who we are deep down, like if your identity is in your body or that trips you up, but knowing who you are, the energy that we are inside all of us, and then recognizing things as thought.
yeah, yeah,
And if someone, like the way you were talking about just waiting around for something to change, I mean, it's not actually wrong, but if the desire for change has occurred to someone, then I would say they're ready for something to change. The
and
waiting around would happen when you didn't know you were waiting around. Like for years, I was probably waiting around and I didn't know it because it didn't occur to me.
yeah, yeah. So, okay, no, no,
That made sense.
totally makes sense. So there's something that someone has a desire for. And maybe that's the thing. Like just feel into that. Like just be honest. What do you really want? What do you actually really want?
Mm,
We have podcasts about that,
yeah. What do you
right? Okay,
actually
so you
want?
identified that. Then you see that there is the possibility, right? And then the last thing you said that we can bring to the next podcast is that, oh, and then we talked about how there could be an underlying want, that's like, well, I feel like I need to be taken care of, right? And all of this, like, so then my question was like, besides waiting around, and sometimes you wait around and change does occur, what is there to possibly do, in air quotes, do? And you said an investigation into our true nature
Mhm.
and an understanding of thought.
Yeah, recognizing thought. All my symptoms, right, I looked like made of thought. So I recognized it. Oh, I fell over because that was thought.
Yeah.
Oh, that was thought. Oh, that panic attack, that's thought. Oh, that there, that's thought.
Yep.
Well, thinking my husband needs to take care of me so I can be okay. Oh, thought again. Fooled me that one. And so yeah, recognizing
Yep.
thought,
Yep.
which yeah, we could talk for a while next time on that. Because it's
Well,
sneaky. It
it's so,
it is sneaky.
it is. It is. Yep. I mean, you and I have been in this exploration for a while. You probably longer than me, but it's still, I, I'm still surprised how often it's thought, and I'm just like going along with it. I'm like eating the popcorn and watching the movie. Like I'm just like it, and thinking it's real, right? And
Yeah.
it's actually made of thought.
In high school, if you didn't know the test material, the answer, you did well if you just picked C on multiple choice. Like if you
Yeah.
don't know, the answer is C. I genuinely now feel like, you know what? The answer is always thought. If you're wondering about something, it's thought.
Right. Well, and you know what else I think would be a great exploration is what isn't thought.
Ooh,
What actually isn't thought. And because when you go there,
yeah.
then then you're in reality. You're aligned with, what actually is. You're aligned with your true nature. And then it becomes a little bit easier to recognize anything that's not that is is made of thought.
Hmm.
So I hate to go. I hate
Yeah,
to, but I think this is a good stopping point. And it is
sure.
just, I mean, you are, as you should be, aglow with, just sort of basking in the experience of writing that beautiful letter and then hearing it read back to you, and the tears and the joy that all came from that. And oh, it's such an honor to have known you and continue to be your friend and see life unfold as you.
Hmm.
It's beautiful.
I'm laughing because I'm like, I feel the same way about you, but you were so eloquent just there. I feel like
Well, I mean,
I can't,
we could
say
call this the Sara Joy podcast, but you know, it
it
was
needs
beautiful.
to.
No, you did a beautiful job of sharing this beautiful experience and, applying it to in pulling out the aspects of it that are universal and apply to everyone.
Hmm.
Everyone. We're
Awesome.
we're all made the same. We're all divinely engineered exactly just like you, Sarah Joy. So anybody who reads
Just like me.
well, not just like you, okay.
I know. I know what you mean. We're none of us are any different from the others. Yeah. Well, thank you for tuning in, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time with We Go Deep with Kat and Sarah. Bye.
Bye.